Hello, everyone. Welcome back to How Come on this not Sunday. Yeah, that's right. This is a bonus episode because you guys have been so nice and you've been rating and reviewing us and you've been leaving in the comments where you want us to come tour, and it's been so helpful. Keep doing that. Go on iTunes, leave a comment, a 5-star review, and say where you want us to come. You can make it your name. You can make it the subject of the post. And regardless, it's just really cool for us to have all those places in a row so that we're like, oh, we're trying to set up our next show. Where should we go? And then we look at the ratings, and that's where we're going to decide on. So speaking of live shows, we have ours coming up on Wednesday, August 14th. I know I told a lot of you about the ticket issues because you'd been writing me saying, yeah, it's been saying process, but I don't know if I actually got the link. If it just said processing and you never got confirmation, it didn't make it through, but don't worry, we still have tickets because of this issue. Just go back. The link is going to be right below in the information section of this episode. Click on it. You have to make an account with the ticket provider. It's like an Eventbrite or something. It's called C-Tickets. It's new. It's awesome. The Stand is using it. And just make an account. They don't have guest checkout. That's why the ones have been processing. But then it's awesome because then you're set up, and I have shows at the Stand all the time, and you can always come by and blah, blah, blah. So get your tickets. It's going to be so fun. We just added another comic to the lineup, Joe List. He's amazing. He has a podcast called Tuesdays with Stories, and he has herpes too, because that's what we're talking about on the live podcast is herpes, STDs, August 14th at the Stand, New York City, 7 p.m. Go to my website or howcomepodcast.com to get your tickets. Also, go get some merch. I am so sad. I left my sweatshirt in Long Island this weekend, and I miss it. But I'm so glad that you guys are loving them and you think they are so soft and cozy. They are, and they're eco-friendly. We've got hats, we've got socks, we've got bath mats. Go, howcomepodcast.com. You can get all of our merch. And also, if you come to the live show, we're probably going to bring merch there, and you'll be able to buy it instead of ordering it. How fun. Okay, so let's get this episode started. Our guest today is Syd Wilder. If you don't know her already, you're going to love her. This is just a trigger warning for some of our listeners. We cover some really deep and sometimes dark topics, including suicide attempts, rape, trauma, and more. But altogether, this episode is about surviving those things, and I think you guys will really enjoy.
How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna jizz.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to How Come. It is a rainy fucking day in NYC. It is hot as balls and rain. It's just all things that are wet, but you're going to get even wetter because of our guest today. Ooh. She is a hot fucking piece of ass. She is an actress, comedian, writer, producer, and the host of the podcast Girl Instarupted. Give it up for Syd Wilder.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. I feel like I should be like stripping or doing stand-up or something with that intro. You know what I mean?
I mean, you should.
Yeah, it's one of the two. Stand-up is kind of like stripping.
Yeah, but you're not doing stand-up anymore, but are you still doing stripping?
I mean, I will never stop stripping emotionally. I do that every day. Physically, I kind of do. Just I don't have an audience.
Like all over your Instagram is...
Oh, my Instagram is my stripping outlet.
A lot of stripping, a lot of fun.
Super slut.
A lot of tushy.
Yeah, that's kind of like the thing that I'm marketing. And then my podcast, I get to talk about sex, which is awesome. Yep. But yeah, my podcast, it's been such an amazing outlet to get, my actual voice across because I thought, being a stand-up comedian, I could have this great, powerful outlet. But my podcast has actually transformed into that, which is crazy because I have this like super slutty Instagram image. It's like the fantasy girl, which I'm nothing fucking like on a daily basis. Yeah. Like that bitch takes so much work.
When we first, you DM'd me, I was like, we are not going to get along. Like she is too...
Every person has that perception of me until they get to know me. And then they're like, oh, she's actually really fucking cool.
Really cool, really normal. Yeah. Still really hot, but not as like intimidating as everything is so not airbrushed, but blown out, and there's wind. And there's
I got my tracks in and my fake hair and all that shit. Now I'm like, no, girl, I'm not doing any wigs or any extensions in this fucking weather. It's all gonna go to shit.
Do most of your fans come through Instagram first, and then you trap them with the stand-up and the podcast?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
They do actually filter out that way, and it's been really wonderful. Actually, I've actually reached a lot of women, and which has been awesome because I really wanted to like grow my female demographic and men too. Just talking about mental health and suicide, because for your listeners, if they don't know, and this podcast is going to be super sexual.
Committed.
Yes, I got 5150, crazy, like loony bin, and it was. I tell all of that on the first episode with my therapist who committed me, Danielle Delaney. So you have to hear it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say loony bin, because the other day I was talking to my uncle and he was saying somebody was in a loony bin, and I was like, well, I've thought of going to a loony bin before, and I have a family member who's been in a loony bin or whatever, and he's like, I can't believe we're just like calling it a loony bin right now.
I was going to say, this is not okay.
I feel like if you've been there, you can fucking say it, and if I'm not offended by it, you guys shouldn't get offended by it.
But I was also
it's
saying,
real.
like, the intention behind it isn't like, I don't actually think people are fucking broken and crazy. Like, some of our mental illnesses we can treat.
Absolutely.
And we can get better.
Absolutely, yeah.
And,
I was there because of trauma and like abuse, and I had a breakdown because of that. It wasn't because I had, all of these like mental problems or, ADHD didn't make me go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you got that too.
Yeah, exactly.
I said to Charlotte was like, do I have to be here for this episode? I was like, yes, you do, because we both have mad ADHD and we're going to go off the rails.
I know. Do you not have it?
I do.
Well, how do you, like, well, how's your finance?
She takes her medicine.
yes.
You got to treat your illness.
Honestly,
You do.
I didn't take anything until like a year ago, and I was always supposed to be taking it since I was a kid, and I never did.
Right.
So I became very hard on myself.
Yeah, no, but then today she's like, my Adderall's wearing off. And I'm like, but good for you for fucking taking it today. I never take it. I resist everything.
Why?
It's like in AA when you finally admit that you have a problem.
Of course,
like, that's the biggest step, is admitting like, I need this stuff.
Yeah.
And I now can admit every day I'm depressed. I'll take my Alexa Pro.
Right.
But I'm like, ADD's fun.
Yeah.
So there's so much more to you than your Instagram stories. You've got so many stories in general.
I'm like a fucking I moved to Hollywood when I was 15 years old, 16, but I was going out there when I was 12. So yeah, I've had some I like basically grew up at the Playboy Mansion. My sister is a playmate. So I had a crazy freaking upbringing, like you name it, I've probably done it. And I'm honest about it, and I think it's so much fun. It's so much fun to like actually like talk about the shit that you've done instead of like, I can't ever say,
because if you're repressed, it's going to manifest in a not so healthy way.
So fucking true. But
So your sister was a playmate.
Yes, she was.
When did she start, and how old were you?
For sex or for
Being a playmate.
she was 18 because you have to be over 18.
Okay.
It was funny because one of your things that I looked up with you was like, when did you first learn about sex? And I was like, I actually learned through my sister.
Oh.
But we were in a pool and I was 6, and she was like, oh my God, this jacuzzi. Like, well, not jacuzzi, it was actual pool, but like, the jets that go out. She's like, put your legs around this. We were playing Spider. I was like, oh, okay. I was like, this actually feels really good.
And did you have an orgasm from that?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I had my first orgasm by myself in the shower.
Oh.
I remember specifically when it happened. So I would go to like, the Hustler store or the Pleasure Chest or wherever, because that's where all the older cool kids went. Got some vibes. When I was 13 or 14, I had bought a dildo because of Sex and the City. But I had no idea what I was doing with that thing. I didn't know, I had no idea how to use it. Cut to Los Angeles, 16, in the shower, and I'm playing with myself. And then all of the sudden, I have these O's happen to my body. That's what it felt like. Like a wave just went through my body. My pussy started pulsating, and I was like in the shower with my legs up, and I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So I didn't know I could have that kind of orgasm because I was like, sex is so stupid, blah, 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 blah. Then that shit happened, and I was like, okay, bitch, I want to be doing whatever this is because this is amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I remember I would I would take like 3-hour shower.
Okay.
But the first time with a partner, I was like 14.
Okay.
And I squirted, and I thought something was wrong with my body. I didn't know what was wrong with my body. I was raped by a guy and then a girl. Those are my first 2 sexual experiences. I have a whole podcast about it with my therapist who was also raped. I'm very open about it.
I know. How old were you then?
I was 13.
Okay.
And then my second was with a girl, and I was 13.
That's so scary and wild.
It was really crazy.
Do you mind explaining the situations, or?
Yeah, you're the second person that's asked me and had any follow-up questions. So the first was a guy.
Most people are very afraid, but I feel like it's the
It's
same
happened
thing.
so
You
long
have
ago.
to talk about it,
Yeah.
and because other people have gone through these things.
Yeah, and look at me. You would never know. I don't use it as a crutch. I don't use it as something to like hold me back. I'm not shamed by my body because of what happened to me.
If anything, it's like super empowering that you're like,
Thank you.
like building building on top of it. Like, and I'm getting better, and I'm who I am because of it, not in spite of it or something.
Thank you. Yeah. But as far as that goes, it was a family friend. He lived down the street, and I was really bad. My, middle sister, who's a playmate. Okay, first of all, she was like a Hooters girl and then became a playmate, like back to back. She's like literally the youngest playmate in the history of Playmates.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was like what I grew up with, and she was wild, and she was like hooking up with girls and guys. So I wanted to hang out with the older crowd, and he was like a part of that. And so I didn't think things would like happen the way that they did. I thought he, like, I was just trying to be the cool kid.
Yeah.
And then it ended up not being so cool. He put chloroform on my mouth, and I was like passed out. I woke up in bed, and it was pretty gnarly.
What did you tell anybody after?
No. I didn't want to tell anybody because he wasn't supposed to be there, and I just got grounded for getting in trouble. And so like I never told anybody. But like later on, my mom and I had discussions about this, and I've gone to like therapy for it, obviously, and everything.
Yeah,
I've gotten the help I need.
That's such a like thing that you don't think about either, is like the kid doesn't want to get in trouble for maybe the thing that they're not supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
But this other horrible thing happened. Like, I'm sure your mother at the time wouldn't have been mad. She just would have taken you in.
For sure. And I actually did end up going to like my first kind of rehab detention juvie center because of that. Like looking back, I'm like, oh, that's why. It wasn't because I was like this like mentally, and there's nothing wrong with having a mental illness. There's nothing wrong with anything. It wasn't like a chemical imbalance. It was because of trauma.
Right.
So I was like acting out,
Yeah, totally.
And then the girl, oh God, that was like so fucked up.
Yeah.
She was like a friend that I went to school with, and that was actually more fucked up in my opinion.
Sure.
So like obviously I was acting out, loved to go to Fredericks of Hollywood. That was like my thing. I was like, I'm going to dress up and whatever, Christina Aguilera, blah, 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 dirty. So I would get this caramel like body whipped cream because I just thought it was so cool, and it like stains your skin.
Okay.
So she sleeps over, and I was like, they gave me Klonopin, which was like a sleeping thing because I was always on Adderall. It was Ritalin before it was Adderall. So I've always been on that for ADHD, which I guess technically that is a mental illness, but I've had it for so long that I'm like, no, it's just me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I said, hey girl, I'm going to take my Klonopin. I'm going to go to sleep. And, I took her out because she was very like, I went to a very small private Christian school.
Okay.
And she was a senior, and I was like in 6th grade or something. And I don't remember.
You were just hanging out with people way too old
for me. And so like the consequences, obviously came from that. But I woke up and I was asleep, and she was stroking the back of my head, and I was naked. And I turn around, and her face has all that caramel whipped cream all over it, and I just like freaked out, and it was all down on my pussy too. I was just like, okay, well, I don't remember that happening either, but I know it. Like I felt, my body was different.
You feel violated. You're like, I know something has happened.
Yeah. So that's how I have like my weird personality, but I love me, and it happened, and it's something that I overcame. And I luckily had a boyfriend after that was really patient with me and really did love me, and he was also older than me. And I told him he was like the first person I told those stories to. So like it was a very like great relationship when it lasted. And then
how old were you guys?
I was 14.
Okay.
I used to go out and twerk and stuff in Atlanta. I had a fake ID. I was like born with a fake ID and no sense of time. I was. And so I would go downtown, like, Eminem would do like battling with rappers, like with his words and like rhymes. I would do that, but like with my ass and like twerking and stuff.
A twerk battle.
Yeah. So like I would win money. I would win tickets to concerts. I would meet all these people.
But how are people? They were just accepting your fake ID as real? Like
I looked really, like, I'll show you pictures. Like, I look older then than I do now. I had daddy issues. My dad was, like, not really in the picture, so that's, like, where I was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be like. So that's kind of why I was more attracted to that
And your
situation.
role models were, like, your older sister who's been doing Playboy. Had she wanted to do Playboy her entire life?
I have no idea. That's a good question. I mean, I'm assuming that she did. Like, who wouldn't at that age when the Girls Next Door is on?
Oh,
and,
right.
Yeah.
It's just about that time.
Yeah.
Wow, I used to love that show.
She was on the show.
Was she?
I was too. I was like dancing at one of his parties when I was like 16. I put it on my YouTube, but I think it got flagged or something. But yeah, I was like dancing at like 16 with Hef and like my pasties and a little belly dancing skirt.
That's insane. See,
Kendra bit my ass at his birthday.
I mean, that's a very fun story for you, but also like they shouldn't be letting these children
for sure
at these parties.
I know, it's crazy. But they didn't know I also had a fake ID too.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was so determined to get out and be an adult, and I wanted to grow up so fast. And now I'm like, damn it, why did I do that?
Okay.
Not having a dad around, like, kind of obviously fucks every person up in their own special way.
Did he just leave, or?
No, my dad is a very successful businessman, but he is emotionally absent.
Okay.
He will never be there for me in any capacity. He was never there financially for my mom.
So he might as well have just left.
Basically. So it was really, so I grew up in like trailer parks and country clubs.
Okay.
So like when I'd go visit him, I would like have all of this crazy money and live in a mansion and blah, blah, blah. But it was all under his rule, under his thumb. Like he was like a psycho control freak. He still is to this day. But we have like, I have an understanding of who he is. Like when we moved out to California, the child support stopped. So like it was all on us. Like we're either going to make it or we're going to go back to Georgia.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? So like that's a lot of pressure. And so I started belly dancing in Los Angeles, and I was like making a pretty good amount of money, and I started a photography company, which is how I learned how to do behind the camera stuff, and that's why I'm really good at directing. Yeah. So it was an opportunity for me to grow, and I don't look at it as you know. And I'm also not 16 and pregnant, which there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do either. But you know, it's two different journeys. You're either at the Playboy Mansion with Hugh Hefner, or you're 16 and pregnant. That was kind of like.
But how were you not 16 and pregnant if you were in those? You know, like did you just have a good education? You knew like about.
Yeah, I graduated. From I was actually homeschooled, so I graduated when I was 16, and then I got a scholarship to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. So I did go to college out in Los Angeles.
And you knew about birth control and staying safe, and
I'm a big hypochondriac, and I'm very into like, you know, preventing pregnancy because of like my mom's a baby nurse, ironically, and then my sister, who is a playmate, is now in porn, but she only works with women. This is a joke of mine, but she doesn't really think that she's in porn because she works with women. I say that on every
that's funny.
I know. So it's like you have both ends of the spectrum with that too, the extreme spectrums. Then my other sister, who lives with me, she's a casting director who won't put me in anything, and I don't think she's ever caught a dick in her life. I don't think she's ever had sex, but she loves her dog.
Have you ever asked her?
Story. So I had sex with this guy at my place, and she walks in. Oh, whoops, I got water on this. Sorry.
It's okay.
And she walks in and she goes, "It smells like someone had sex in here." I was like, How would you know,
bitch?
Just flash you. I was like, what the fuck? How do you know?
It could be like death, where when you smell it, you just know.
You just know.
But your sister is probably at sex, I guess.
I mean, I don't think that she has.
Yeah.
She could just not be comfortable talking about it.
That could be it as well, yeah.
No, she's never, she doesn't go on dates. She's so angry all the time.
Maybe because he's not getting fucked.
Exactly. That's exactly how I feel, honestly.
And she's not here to talk about her experience, but I can imagine having two hypersexual sisters.
Yeah.
Maybe makes you swing the pendulum the other way.
Probably.
So maybe that's it. Now, I know one of your stories with your sisters, and I can imagine who it is now. I was going to say which sister did this, but you had a sister experience like no other person, where
my ex-boyfriend sought her out and she had no idea. Her and I were actually, this is ironic. So I was on, I love stripper poles. I love pole dancing. I think it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I've had one pretty much in every apartment that I've ever had, except for the last two. Mm-hmm. And she was like going to feature dance because that's what, you know, adult performers do to make some extra money.
Yeah.
And I was teaching her this move on the pole, and she's like, oh my gosh, by the way, I'm dating this new guy. I'm like, oh my gosh, who is it? And she says his name. I was like, oh, that's funny. I am too. And like, you know, I was like, what a small world. I was like, where does he live? And then she told me where he lived, and I was like, mine too. But it was like a really common name. Yeah. And then I was like, what does he do? And then I was like, mine too. So it was just like, what? And then she showed me a picture. I was like, let me see a picture. And
so this was not like a serious relationship on...
It was for me.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, so
how did he not know?
No, you're saying he intentionally did
Intentionally, yeah. Intentionally to fuck with me.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Some people are just fucked up, and you don't know that they have that in them because they're putting on this facade that they're like
that's what crazy is.
That's exactly.
It's not someone who shit's happened to. It's someone who's causing shit to happen.
Especially when they're married with 4 kids.
Oh my God!
They can also do that to their own.
So he was lying
about me, obviously
about
me
being single.
Yes, and then also fucking my sister while he's dating me.
What did you guys do when you made that realization? Because Charlotte and I were saying, I was like,
it was fucked up. There was a really like fucked up period of time because you know, it wasn't just like he fucked her once. They were like
seeing.
Yeah. So it was really hard because, you know, I was with him for years and she was with him for like, you know, a few months or something. I guess I wasn't giving him enough attention or something, and that was his way of retaliating and getting the attention back, you know, in some like weird his own fucked up way.
Yeah.
He was also really entitled and like, so she and I had kind of like a falling out, but she decided she would stop talking to him, and I decided I would stop talking to him, and it took a while, and we did therapy together to like work through those issues and those kinks.
Great, though. Was it with
hard.
Your therapist?
Yeah,
'cause she does family therapy.
Yeah. We did it with her. Yeah, but we're still like. I've always been her annoying little sister. I've never been her, like, she's never been, like, proud of me or happy for me. And, like, even with my success that I've had in my career, I can't go to her and be like, oh, my gosh, like, this is so awesome, because anything I say, there's something about the sex industry when you get older and things are changing. It's hard.
Like, she'll just be resentful rather than happy for you.
Yeah, she's not happy for me.
I mean, I think that's a sister thing. Charlotte's like...
It's a sister thing.
Charlotte has a specific moment in mind where I haven't... No, but I mean, I have a specific moment in mind where I haven't been able to be happy for Charlotte because... And I'm the older sister that she's kind of, you know, like... Not lived in my shadow, but, like, you're following suit. And, like, people always compare the two and stuff. And there was... Charlotte got recognized in public from this podcast.
But not by my face.
By her voice. By her voice.
Wait, do you want to be recognized by your face? Is that what you say that?
No, because
you have
the
a beautiful
whole thing.
Face.
Oh, thank you, but no, it was.
Yeah,
So
no, and the voice doesn't matter either, so we don't have to go there.
But when you said that, it sounded like, oh my God,
yeah,
I want to be recognized for my face.
No,
or your
voice.
No,
I thought it was cool because in my head it was the podcast. People know the podcast.
Can I just tell the story? Okay, so I just want to get my soundbite. So Charlotte got recognized by her voice. Literally, she was out during the day. Somebody whips around and they go, oh, "Are you Charlotte from How Come?" And she goes, "Yeah." And she calls me and she's all excited and I was just like, oh.
Aww.
And she goes, why aren't you excited for me? And I was like, well, I haven't been recognized for my own podcast yet. So
you haven't?
I hadn't at the time. Aww. It happened like 4 weeks later. It was a long 4 weeks.
Oh, I bet.
But
so that's what it was.
It's like a chink in your armor versus I can't be happy for you. It's because I'm stuck thinking about me.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to think about that too. Like everyone's all consumed with like what's going on in their brain. They're looking at everything through, like they have their own movie going on in their head and that's how they're watching everything. That's how they perceive you. That's what's going on with their life. So it's good that you guys were able to communicate that, like even when you said your feelings exactly.
Oh yeah.
And then you said, well, I hadn't been recognized in 4 weeks. Those were a long 4 weeks. So now you both know what it was.
Yeah.
So it's good. But at the time, it sucked.
No, I hadn't been recognized at all for the podcast.
What?
Until 4 weeks after she was recognized.
And how good did that feeling feel?
Amazing.
So then you felt what she felt.
She's like, I know.
I never leave my house, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, you can't get recognized if you're just hanging out with Nanny all day.
I mean, that's the problem with
Sometimes
me too.
Nanny can't even recognize me.
I mean, I love Nanny. I met her. She's fabulous, you guys.
She's the best.
I hope that you guys are able to score an interview with her, though.
I know.
Before it's too late.
Shut up.
I'm sorry. But you know what I mean.
Before her voice goes.
Before her voice. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you guys were able to get over it. And
yeah, but we're still like, we've always had that kind of
competition.
I mean, my dad, unfortunately, was always like raising us that way, which I'm never like that. I don't want to compete with her. I want to love her. I just want her to like love me back, you know? So it's very difficult. It's a very difficult relationship. And she's also struggled with a lot of drugs. She's dated horrible drug dealers and stuff. So, and she's also, it's who she is and I love her, but she's very selfish. And so it's everything, if it's not consumed, she's always been the popular girl and I was always the nerdy, like, I mean, if you guys see my kid pictures, which I post to my Instagram, I look like an SNL character. It's so fucking embarrassing. I look like a boy. I was fat. I had braces.
You look like Pat.
I do look like Pat. It's so fucking funny because everyone's got a different perception of it and says something else that like
Pat
is
like the most offensive character on SNL that does not hold up anymore because it's just basically wondering what gender somebody is.
Yeah.
And now it's like that person can be whatever they are and want to be. So fuck you. But
but in Georgia, growing up in like the early 2000s, that wasn't the look. Brutal. Oh my God, it was since having your sister be the most popular girl in school, homecoming queen. Yeah, I was always known as Spencer's sister. So it's always kind of been not the best relationship, but I've always wanted to win her heart. Oh, I know. I'm always gonna want that. It's just like with my dad. But you know, you can't love someone that doesn't.
Yeah, well, but that's the thing is like the most withholding people make you want to please them the most.
I know.
Because you're like, oh, when I get those moments of good job, I just want that so much more.
Gosh, you're gonna make me fucking cry right now.
Don't cry. I mean, you can cry. You can cry. Charlotte cried a few episodes ago.
I did.
Oh, when she comes through at the 10th hour, she was really funny at my wedding though, but she was so wasted. Everyone got wasted except for my dad at my wedding, and I didn't even think my dad was gonna show up.
And he did.
Well, I didn't want him to. I just invited him because I was like, well, my stepfather just died, and then my grandfather died 3 weeks before that, and I guess I'll invite you because you're supposed to have your dad walk you down the aisle.
Yeah.
Motherfucker shows up. I'm like, now you decide to show up on like the worst day of my life.
The worst day of my life.
Supposed to be the best day.
Oh, it was not.
Wait, so you had a very interesting, I mean, not interesting, but a different marriage than
Hollywood.
we've spoken about. Yeah, a very Hollywood marriage.
Yeah.
With somebody 33 years your senior.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet? How did everything happen?
So what
Was the love real?
It was very real.
Okay.
It was very real for me, like, because I was in I was in another really big state of trauma. My grandfather, who was like my rock, who was like your grandfather, who I'm staring at right now on the wall.
Hi, Papa.
Yes, that's what I called my papa.
Really?
Yeah, my papa. So he was my everything. He was like my dad growing up. Like he was always at, I'm gonna like cry talking about it. He was always at all the games and like with me with my driver's license. I love him. I miss him. So he died, and then 3 weeks later, my stepfather killed himself. I was in the next room. It was really fucked up.
That's wild.
Yes. And then my ex-boyfriend, Greg, who's also dead, but he didn't die then. He died, actually did the math, like a little over a year and like a month after this breakup. I broke up with him for like the 100th time because he couldn't keep his dick in his pants. He was just like such a cheater. And I loved him because I met him when I was 17 in Los Angeles, and it was like it for me. Like we would constantly break up and get back together, and because he would cheat.
Right.
So,
but when you're young, that roller coaster is fun. It's interesting.
Yes, it was great. So I was like, I'm done this time. I went to like a really important therapist at the time, Pat Allen.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I was like, she helped me get over it and like finally like leave. And then 1 month later I met my ex-husband and I just jumped in head first, 23 years old, thought that this was the love of my life because he was a narcissistic sociopath, and everything I said I wanted, he became. He just molded himself. He mirrored me. That's what it's called in therapy or psychology. So it was really fucked up, and I didn't know this at the time, but I was basically the person he wanted to marry to make his other 2 girls jealous or 3 girls jealous. So I was basically like
a pawn.
Yeah. And it was really fucked up because, you know, he told me that those relationships were over because I was like done.
Yeah.
Like when we got engaged, I was like, I'm not going to enter an engagement with someone that's going to, you know, fuck me over like that. Like, no, like it's either me or nobody else.
Yeah.
And he said, no, it's just you. You're the love of my life. Everything, fairy tale, blah, blah, blah. And so I was really in love with him. But, you know, things started to unravel about 6 months into the marriage, and I thought I could save it, and it just got worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, and to the point where I was constantly infected on antibiotics. My pussy turned into the Grinch because he was he was a sex addict as well, so he was cheating on me with street hookers.
Oh,
and
my
I got
God.
HPV, and then I got cervical cancer. And then I got surgery. I had 2 surgeries for the cervical cancer. But when I got the cervical cancer, I filed for divorce because I finally had enough of the abuse. And I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not going to put up with this anymore.
Yeah.
Then leaving too was so hard because I was just you know that like statistic. Did you guys see Dirty John? Or whatever? Yeah. So like abused women, it takes them about 7 to 8 times before they finally leave.
That was one of the most difficult things about watching Dirty John was how many times she'd go back and you'd be like, stop it.
It's like a drug addict.
Yeah.
It's like a drug addict because you're like, just don't hurt yourself again with this person.
And stop believing him.
Yes.
Like, believe him the first time he shows you who he is.
Yes.
Isn't that like a Maya Angelou quote or something?
Yeah, it probably is. It probably is. But it was awesome to, you know, now the woman that I am now, I'm such a strong woman now, and now I've learned so much through that disaster and I'm so glad I'm almost 30, and like most girls are like, oh my God, I'm almost 30 and I'm not married. I'm like, bitch, I've been there. I didn't get a penny in the divorce. I didn't even get to keep the TV, and he was the one that made all of the money. It was a 2-year marriage, and my fucking divorce lasted 3 years, okay? I represented myself and had a little Elle Woods moment because I was so sick of paying all these fucking attorneys that did nothing.
Oh my gosh.
And
you're like, actually, the ammonium thioglycolate?
Wow, that was actually a really good Elle Woods impression. No, I said some really dumb shit in front of the judge. I was like, you know what? This isn't for me. You know, this is not for me. But so last year, I was literally studying California law, trying to figure out how to get out of this shitstorm. January, my divorce was finally final. So that's why I'm like a whole new bitch. I'm so
congratulations. Holy shit.
Thank you.
It's crazy though too, because everybody's like, oh, if I get married young, like life will be made. Like, no, you can get married and divorced, and then you're back. Like, you have to take time for you before you figure out, like,
and always work. I don't care what you do. Like, I don't care if you marry someone. My husband wasn't like a millionaire or super successful or anything like that. He had some money, but he wasn't like, he had 2 kids and a grandchild. I was a grandmother in that marriage. So it's like he had other responsibilities. So I wasn't like, I just thought when I met him, oh my God, this guy is going to treat me like a queen. Like that's what I fell in love with. And, it was just really fucked up. So it doesn't matter if you marry someone that's successful. They can fuck you over. They can hire the best attorneys. And then what are you going to do? You know what I mean? So I'm the example of what are you going to do? Podcast.
Yeah. No, exactly.
I'm really the example of what not to do.
Yeah. And you can always listen to Syd's other episodes too, because they're very in-depth.
Oh, thanks.
We're just ping-ponging from thing to thing, but you've got everything in yours.
Oh, so do you, babe.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. So pussy cancer, ex cheating, and then all the hookers and stuff, and then the sister and the ex-boy, all that stuff.
And was the sister fight the thing that set off you having to go to the psych ward?
Yeah, the sister fight was. It was, yeah.
And it was over him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, she also kissed. I found out she kissed that was what it was that night. She kissed the porn star that my ex was taking care of our entire marriage that I had no knowledge of. That she literally was at the Avian Awards, and there's a photo on the porn star's Instagram kissing her.
Kissing your sister?
Yeah. Like, can you imagine?
And your sister knew about all of this
She
stuff.
absolutely knew.
That's
my sister knew who she was. Yeah, that was that's what made me fucking. But then there was everything else because we were working through all the other it was just a lot. It was a lot.
That's a lot to deal with.
To be honest, now I'm thinking back in my mind because trauma blocks out a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm fuck. Wait, is that the order of how it happened? Whatever it was a fucking lot.
Yeah.
How did you survive it?
I'm oh.
You told the story about it. It started with the fight, and then you called your therapist.
Oh yeah,
right?
she came over. Yeah, Danielle came over. Yeah, I was on a lot of drugs that night, a lot of drugs. I was taking painkillers because my pussy hurt from this. I just had surgery, so and I took 6 shots of vodka on an empty stomach, and then I took a Xanax to calm down from all that.
And the therapist came over while you were on that stuff.
And then I took my sleeping pill. When she left, I took the sleeping pill, and then I tried to hang myself.
And sent her a photo.
Yeah,
that is so
fucked up,
intense.
Yeah. And someone said that too. Did you do that for attention? I was like, no, I really wanted to. I was in the middle of following through with it, and then my mother burst in the room, and
you just wanted to let her what was the photo actually you with something tied around your neck?
It was.
And did you look like you had already done it?
I was in the I took it and then I put the phone down and then I was in the process of doing it. But I don't have the photo on my phone. My therapist says that she still has it, but I want to see it.
Yeah, I don't think you would want to be brought back to that point.
I don't.
But her going through it she was like we're friends too, and I had to put all of my love for you and all of my worried feelings for you aside and go back to training and text your mom and say, or call your mom actually and quickly say, Syd's in the other room and she's trying to kill herself, and you have to go in there with a knife.
Yeah,
because if she goes in there without a knife, that's few more minutes that she would have to leave the room, come back. Maybe you had already died.
Can you believe that this is real life? This is actually what I did. I'm what it was. I was in such a dark place, but that's true. That's what happens in those situations. And I felt so guilty because my stepfather had killed himself.
Yeah,
and that's
that's the thing is, suicide in a family affects 3 generations down from that family.
It does.
So it's not uncommon that somebody else would try and take their life if something had just happened to somebody close to you.
Of course, statistically, I think it's it raises 10% or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it happens to you.
And I just was listening to that episode, and you were saying, you're I feel so bad. How could I do this to my mom?
Yeah.
But
and my best friend had died too. I wanted to be there and talk to him, but he was gone. So.
Yeah.
Hard times.
But it's also, how could you do this to yourself?
That's, I put my mom before everything.
You put everyone else first.
Yeah.
And that's
been definitely a recurring problem in my life. But I'm learning and I'm getting better. I'm not going to say, oh my God, I'm healed, because I think that's crazy. No, you don't just change overnight. It doesn't just happen like that.
It's a process.
It is. Healing is a process. And I'm getting I was telling you on the phone last night, I'm oh my God, I'm finally figuring out dating. It's taken me so long because I just catch feelings for the first person that gives me attention or says something sweet. And I'm no, these guys have to fucking work for it. It's 2019. I am not going to fall for your fucking words anymore. I'm not going to be a bitter bitch and say fuck love. No. But I'm going to be a smart bitch.
Yeah.
And I'm going to play the game because I don't want to get played. Yes.
Yep.
And I'm going to figure out what my options are, figure out if they're real, and that you can only figure that out with time.
Yeah.
Travel, meet their family, see if that's some of the shit that you want to put up with. should have done that before I got married. The family was super fucked up. I was like, oh my God, this is what I have to spend holidays
every
with.
Relationship is learning.
Yes.
You know, like, they can be horrible, but if you can take a learning lesson, like, then you were there for a reason.
So fucking true. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, you know what? Everything in life that's happened to me since all of this tragedy and trauma, the way that I've used my voice to help other people, it's just been so rewarding.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is why I'm still here, you know, not just because I'm like, oh my God, it's me, it's my podcast. Like, no, like I'm helping other people, and that's me. I would rather do that than go do stand up anywhere. Like, that to me is like what I get out of bed for. Like, I love it. Being honest about your sexuality, honest about your experiences. I just think it's so important. Like, I love sex, and I hate all the shame that's surrounded by sex, because it makes you feel like you're doing something bad, and you're not.
So when you were with your first, like, serious boyfriend at, like, 14, like, was he just the loveliest thing ever?
I wanted to marry him. I had a promise ring and everything. And then I was the one that broke his heart, because I was, like, one of those, like, leave before you get left.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I abandoned him, and I wasn't emotionally mature enough for that kind of commitment. And I was also lying to him about my age, and I felt, like, really guilty about that. And, he's like, why don't you have a car? I'm like, oh, it's in the shop. You know?
My car's been in the shop for 3 years.
A relationship can be built on lies. But,
so that, and also I moved out to Los Angeles, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do, because I was a country singer, and the reason I stopped doing country music is because I was molested by my management. So that's how I fell into acting. Shocker. I guess I've just been really sexually and emotionally traumatized, but look at me, I'm fine. Yeah, I have. But again, I'm still fucking here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, honestly, even though I've been through all this shit, I am the happiest now that I've ever been in my entire life. The progression of, like, trauma and all the idiots that I dated, and then that's how I learned how to have the dating game.
So now you're getting better at dating.
The reason I know that is because I actually think I dated an 18-year-old. So I dated a broke gaffer. He was someone that I hired, which was, like, so embarrassing. He had no car. He had no job. He wasn't even in the union. He would rather get a tattoo and be pregnant than his driver's license.
Okay.
Yeah, and in California, you need a car, and you need, it's not a tattoo. And his tattoos were fucking ugly. It was embarrassing. I was like, looking back now, I was like, man, I was so fucking desperate.
And he was 18?
No, that was, so that was the broke guy. Then I was like, okay, it doesn't, like, maybe I'll try a younger guy, because I'm done with, like, a rich guy. I'm done with broke guys. I'm just going to try a younger guy, because this guy was like, I thought he'd be, like, obsessed. Yeah. And
obviously, I just want somebody to be obsessed with me.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, whatever. I just want to be, like, obsessed with the things that I'm interested in, and then have a healthy, normal, balanced relationship, because, like, that's not good.
There was one time I was away from a boyfriend, and I was freaking out because he wasn't contacting me or whatever, and my friend was like, why are you freaking out? And I was like, because I love him so much. And he was like, I don't know if you love him or if this is an obsession, because if you loved him, you would just trust in it.
Yes.
Like, obsession's not healthy.
Yes.
You can have a major crush on the person you're with, but like, don't be obsessed with them.
Yeah, you can be, like, infatuated in the beginning. That's fine. But, like, when you're doing that, you're obviously recreating some sort of trauma that you haven't healed within yourself.
Yeah.
And you're acting it out by, needing to check in, needing to, and that's not, what we want to do.
Yeah.
We were talking about that, actually, that you and I both, like, fall head over heels, and, like, we're super into, like, who we're into. And it's like, get another boyfriend.
Yeah. So this guy, the young one.
Oh, yeah. There's a story with that one. Was kind of wild.
Yeah. What ended up happening with him?
Well, okay. So I met him and his sister at a Laker game. Okay. I had good seats at the time. I was on the floor, not trying to, like, brag about that. But it all makes sense, because he's an entitled little fucking rich kid that's, like, kind of a piece of shit. So his dad was, like, some sports agent or something. I don't fucking know. So he and his sister, he's, like, 12, and he's nerdy and fat and had glasses. My heart always goes out to that kid. Like, it was really, I was embarrassed for him. I was like, oh, like, he's probably got no friends, So I was like, I'll take a picture with him. And I had no Instagram following then. I was like, I followed his sister. I followed him. We were all just, like, it was all funny, you know? It was all goofy.
Yeah.
I think the kiss cam or something came on, and it was just, like, it was all, like, just a joke. And so when he turned 18, he slid into my DMs.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, this would be a fun story. And I was trying to get over because the sex was really good. That's the only reason I kept that guy that was the gaffer guy around because he was so stupid.
Okay.
Oh my, that's another thing too. I can't do stupid. Guys all try to be like, I'm so smart in the beginning, and then like you figure out they're actually really stupid. If they're smart, they don't need to say that they're smart.
What I've noticed too is like you can be stupid in so many different ways.
True.
But if it's the same brand of stupid that fits with your brand of stupid, that can be really nice.
Yeah. That's so true though.
Like I love my friends to be really smart, but I also want them to be like dumb.
Yes.
So we can have like fun, dumb conversations.
Yes.
Like I can ask you stupid questions and you don't judge.
Or it's like
Yes.
goofy.
Or goofy, yeah.
For sure. He was like negative, I hate everything, insecure, stupid, like intimidated by everything, would like make fun of like trying something new because he didn't want to do it, but like he would make it my fault.
Close-minded.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll just go out with this kid to get him off my mind because I was like in no contact almost 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna
get rid of this sex addiction with him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was really hard to like, because I love sex. So I was just like, this is so hard. So I went out with the kid and he like fucking had mad game. He's like, I'm Professor Finesse. I was like, whatever, kid. Like I didn't expect to have a good time. And then, lo and behold, of course, I fucking catch feelings for that piece of shit.
Wow.
Ends up cheating on me.
No.
With another girl. Like he, like and she's young. So like they're stupid. They say everything. Like, and it's so obvious with social media. I'm like a social media sniper. I can fucking figure everything out.
Yeah.
Okay. I am the FBI.
Venmo,
I was
baby.
gonna say there's some meme that's like women should be in charge of the CIA, like given how much stalking we can do.
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
And so I ultimately found this girl, and because it was sloppy too. This girl, she was like liking the comments he would put on my like photos, and the comments got fewer and fewer and fewer, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this is weird.
Yeah.
And then like I even found his fucking Finsta account. Like this little kid was such a piece of shit. He ends up like having anal and vaginal sex with this girl, and she like tells me all about it, and she got like a yeast infection and like blah blah blah. But she's like
you don't go anal to vag. You got to clean it off in between.
I can't, like, I'm such a germaphobe and hypochondriac
Yeah.
because of everything. I'm like, stop it.
Yeah.
Don't do that. And he asked
Yeah, they
me-
don't show cleanup and like proper precautions in porn.
No, they don't.
The moves you can take away, but don't take the cleanliness aspect from it.
I love that you didn't want to watch porn either, and you like opened your horizons to that. I heard that on a podcast. I was the same exact way.
Really?
Yes, because I don't want to see my sisters.
Yeah,
wear
you're like, I don't want to watch it to my sister on the
I was like,
internet.
oh, I don't want to see it. But yeah, now I'm like open to it. I used to be, because like my ex-husband and I didn't even watch porn together. Like it was so like the sex was great. I would never have married an older person if he didn't have great sex.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm open to it now. You kind of can learn different positions, and I found that I like fitness oriented. Like I like the fitter, like because you learn different cool positions. That's but my asshole doesn't look like that color, but if I bleached it enough, I'm sure.
Yeah, I was
going
gonna say neither do theirs naturally,
right? My asshole doctor, he's passed away now too. I hate all the dead people I know.
Pour one out for the asshole doctor.
Dr. Bo, he came to one of my stand-up shows. I'm not even kidding. Dr. Bo Wagner, I love you. I still order his products.
Love you. Bless up, Dr. Bo.
I didn't know
Seriously.
there was a whole doctor just for assholes.
Just
A
for
whole
assholes.
doctor.
A whole doctor.
Have you guys ever had a colonic?
No.
What?
I mean, a GI doctor,
Is that something I should do?
Okay.
like for your stomach.
Yeah.
But
You've never had a colonic?
No, we
No.
live in New York.
Get a colonic.
We don't do LA things. We're not drinking green juices and getting colonic and then doing Runyon.
I just had a donut and now I'm sitting down.
But yeah, I don't know where we were.
porn.
Porn.
Yeah.
What kind of porn do you like?
Well, I was more thinking about the athletic stuff. So the athletic porn, like
Like a
it's
girl with,
people
like,
that
her,
can
like-
do
like this shit.
different moves, and
They're
you're
very
down
flexible.
with. Yeah, because she's fucking. How long? When did you learn how to pole dance?
Fuck.
After belly dancing.
Before. I like
Before.
to dance on poles like in Georgia and stuff.
Okay.
But like, obviously I was underage.
But like you can do things. Like you've never been technically trained?
I've gone to classes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I love taking classes.
You never performed ever? Or
No, I've never done it. But you know what?
Wow.
I could make so much money.
you could.
I could.
Have you ever thought of doing
I'm
an
not-
amateur night?
What is that?
Like a night where like you're not one of the girls working
amateur
there.
night. Yeah. It's so hard because I've worked so hard on my career and I have a sexy image. Everyone probably thinks I'm that and a
Yeah.
lot of other things. But I just don't want to go down that route. And I have no judgment towards any stripper.
Totally.
I hate them because I was left for one in Vegas.
Okay.
But now, like, with this new awakening I'm having, I'm like, I fucking love strippers.
Yeah.
They're awesome. I actually took a guy on a date to a strip club recently.
Nice.
But, well, just because I wasn't into him and I was like, oh, this will be easy.
Yeah, I got to pawn you off on somebody else.
Pretty much. But I don't think I could do it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm like, hey, if my career doesn't take off in a couple more years, I'm not going to say no.
I've always just thought it would be so fun to go to the middle of nowhere where nobody knows you and like have that attention for a night. You know,
I don't like that attention because I get it all the time.
Yeah, you're getting you're getting it from people who can't touch you either, and they're doing it through a phone, which is probably ideal.
Yeah. I mean, but that, that doesn't bother. I don't like get my identity from that attention. So I guess, but like a sex club, that would be fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard you want to go to one too.
I've been to one. I've been to two.
How was it?
They were great, but I wasn't participating.
You didn't use one to watch?
No, yeah.
Have you done the BDSM? Because I heard on your podcast that's like something you want to explore. I don't know if it's a later podcast.
I do want to explore it.
Like what?
Maybe a paddle or a whip or being tied up.
Shocker. Those are fun. I actually did that with the porn star. It was
a
so
shocker?
much fun. Yeah, I like shocked the fuck out of her clit. She was so into it. It was like awesome. She looked like a scared little girl. Like she'd never done that before. Because he wanted me to dominate her because I'm a switch.
Wow.
So I dominated a fucking porn star. It was so intimidating.
That's wild.
It was the most intimidating sex I've ever had, and there was going to be two of them, but thank God one of them dropped out. He was like a total sex addict, of course, because that's like what I attract, like alcoholics and sex addicts. And I didn't have like a flog or anything, but like I walked in and there was all these like anal toys and I was like, those are for her, right? Like not for me. And like he's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. It was like so.
That's intense.
Yeah, but like shocking is like my favorite thing.
Yeah.
It's so hot.
Yeah.
You should shock.
Okay. I will try it in a controlled place.
Well, no, your guy probably won't. No guy likes to be shocked. That's the only problem.
Yeah.
So
it would have to be him to me.
Yeah, I need to teach him how to do it. You can explore. That's your homework assignment.
I could shock myself.
Your next, but it's more fun when you don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
You have to be blindfolded and then like I've had a guy shock me with his dick before. And that was hot.
Oh, wow.
Because of the attachment. There's different attachments you put on it. And one is like if you hold this attachment that you have to hold in your hand, it's like this metal attachment. Anything you touch is going to shock you.
Wow.
Yeah. So like if you guys tongue touch each other, you're going to shock each other. So like if his dick touches your pussy.
New assignment. We haven't done an assignment in a while.
You haven't? Do it. So that'll be your first like, kink exploration. I really want to learn how to like hog tie and like do the ropes. But that like I need to go to like some classes and like figure that out. But I don't know.
Wait, can I ask?
Yeah.
Okay. He brought you into that situation.
Yeah.
Were you like mostly excited or mostly scared?
It was like you being in your masturbation class, except I was with a porn star.
Yeah.
Boyfriend at the time.
So a mix.
Well, I was like so scared because I was like, will I be enough? Like she does this like professionally.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like this is a lot. But then at the same time I was like, fuck it, I'm up for the challenge. But that was when there was two. Mm-hmm. When it was one, I was like, okay,
I can do this.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I got this. I got it. Yeah.
Awesome.
So it was pretty intense, but it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. So what makes you think now that you're getting better at dating? What are the indicators?
I'm not catching. So, okay, actually, I dated one other guy. Yeah, I dated after the 18-year-old. There was this other guy that I like kind of had that same sort of pattern with, where I just like fell in, but he like made me come with his hand. So like anytime, like I was like,
so I kept him for a while.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I was really into him. But I think once my divorce got finalized and I didn't have to deal with that trauma constantly, because I would go home to like stacks of paper, like 6 different boxes of paper, and it was really hard for me to deal with that trauma. And I think I was like acting out with men, to try to like heal whatever it was. And now that that's past me and it's over and I don't have to act out, I actually didn't even date for like 2 months. My pussy looked so bad. Like literally it looked like the devil. Like I didn't shave it. I took a picture of it and I sent it to my girlfriend who was at dinner with her dad. And I was like, it had like, the devil's horns. It had that.
But with hair.
Yeah.
Like a twisty mustache.
Yes, exactly what my pussy looked like. So after that, I did date one other guy, and I just had this like aha moment where I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let any guy after this take advantage of my feelings, of my kindness. I'm not going to fall for their words. I'm going to play the game, but I'm not going to be a whore. If I want to, fine, whatever. But like, I'm not around sleeping with everyone. I'm just actively dating different people, not getting my feelings attached. And I've learned after all of those horrible experiences that I've had that's how I should have been doing it the whole fucking
It's
time.
like putting more eggs in different baskets and not investing so much into somebody right off the bat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like I just want to like slowly get to know people and figure out what I actually want in a partner and a person. And you don't know that till you go through a lot of different experiences together. So I'm having fun.
Good.
I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know, it's taking a whole bunch of people.
Are you letting them get to know you slower?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
But you know what? I'm so vulnerable and open on my podcast. That's the one thing that it kind of has a decline in my dating life, I feel like. I mean, I haven't really seen too much of it, but I just know like they have an upper hand because I'm so honest.
Because they have that information at their fingertips.
So they could pretend to be whoever they need to be in order to, you know, trap me.
And you have to be wary of those people.
Yes,
definitely.
I do. So that's like what I'm a little cautious about. Other than that, like dating is better now.
How is your sex life with yourself?
Oh, it's awesome. I was so turned on by myself the other day.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I'm enjoying like my little hoe phase right now, and I do get turned on myself. I think we have the same vibrator too, if it's the suction one.
Which one do you use?
It's the Lilo. It's
no,
like
I don't have that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
I use the Satisfier and the Sweet Vibrations, Girl's Best Friend. I love them.
I need to check them out. I'm all about vibrators. I love vibrators. I thought
we need a name for the suction ones, because like I don't know, because you can't just call it a vibrator. It's not a vibrator. It doesn't vibrate. It's
yeah.
Like a
That's what it is. Yeah. Like,
so are you mostly using a toy or hand or?
Oh, when I dated the guy who like got me off with his hand, I was like, holy shit, I'm so spoiled, because he fucked me with a sex machine. I had never been fucked like that before. I was like, this is amazing. I was like, he was such a freak. I was so into it.
He fucked you with a sex machine?
Yeah.
What's a sex machine?
He has a sex machine at his house. I don't know. All I know is like I should have like red flag should have gone off. I kind of did, but that's my problem. I kind of am just like, oh, okay, whatever. He's a nice guy. He gave me a compliment.
You gotta listen to those flags.
I know. I am now.
Yeah.
I so am now.
Yeah.
And I'm not putting up with it because I have way too many fucking options, and I realize that now, instead of just being like, well, no, I'm not that bitch anymore. So he woke me up and he was like, he's like, do you want to go online cock shopping? I go, what? He's like, do you want to go online and order a cock? I'm like, what are you talking about? Because at this point, I didn't know that he had a sex machine. You know, he got me out with his hand. I was like, I love him. Yeah. You know, and like we had crazy wild sex. He cooked me dinner. He had rose petals everywhere. I mean, it was just like he did the works. Okay. And so I was like, what are you talking? He's like, I have a sex machine. And so I was like, okay.
But what is a sex machine?
dildo on a stick.
It's like a dildo on a stick, and it fucks you.
Oh, cool. Can you come from just penetration?
I need vibrational.
Yeah.
Clip.
Okay.
Yeah, I need it.
See, even this sex machine.
Yeah.
She's a normal woman, you guys.
I have
We're
to.
not
even a
machines.
literal sex machine can't make it.
Even a sex. Yeah.
Actually, I can. Okay, so here's the thing. I squirt a little bit. So only if I'm super into the guy. If I'm not, sorry guys.
Yeah.
You know,
that's your indicator.
Yeah. So I can come like that, but it's a different type of orgasm with my clit.
Was there the first time you squirted? Was that first orgasm with your first boyfriend?
Yeah.
Was that wild?
He knew what it was and I didn't.
Okay.
I thought something like, I literally thought I peed on him or something. I was so confused. I was like, what happened to my body? He's like, I just made you come. I was like, what? Because I just like to fuck because I like the feeling of it. I didn't know that could like happen to your body.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he
But
had
he-
a really hot body.
But he didn't make you feel like bad about it. He's like, this is
He was
normal and hot.
sweet.
Yeah.
He made
that's
me feel bad
awesome.
about eating food because he was into fitness and
Oh,
stuff. And I was
fuck
just
that.
like, shut up. Yeah. It was annoying.
I had an ex once who I asked him, because we hadn't been fucking a lot, and I said, what can I do that's like hot that'll turn you on or whatever? And he goes, P90X.
What?
Like workout
Oh,
more.
the workout. What the fuck? He said that to your face?
To my face. Yeah.
He's fired.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
But yeah, if
Charlotte, your face is just like, yeah, he was such a loser. I had to see my sister date all of these losers.
yeah.
I was sitting there in the sidelines like, disc.
Because you know the sisters can't say shit. Like, we can't say shit because then you're just going to hate us. And the next time you get into a fight, you're not going to, like, come to us. And then if we say our opinions, it's all fucked.
Yeah. Although Charlotte's really great about when I slide back and forth with people because, like, and I'll do the same thing with her. Like, she'll be like, I really want to break up with this person. And our mom has always told us, okay, make a list. Pros and cons. You can tell us the pros, you can tell us the cons. And if all the pros are better, you stay. And if the cons weigh it out harder, then you go.
Right.
But you can still have this dialogue with us and keep telling us if the pros are leveling out or if the cons are making it worse, you know, and like we'll be there for the support if you stay in this relationship and if not. Like I felt so much support from her when I've been like, oh, I want to get out of this so and so or whatever. And she's like, okay, well, if you do, this is what we do. And if you don't, it's fine.
Right.
I'll think he's a great guy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the way you should communicate so no one feels shame.
Yeah. And
you know?
I have had friends too who I think girls have a tougher time just getting out of a relationship because we feel like we're giving up and we're like failing and stuff.
Absolutely.
And I've had so many girlfriends come to me and be, I really want to break up with this guy, and kind of copying Charlotte, what she's done for me. Like I've been like, okay, tell me everything. And even if you don't want to break up with him after this conversation, it's okay. I won't judge you and you can stay in the relationship.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, my therapist always says to me too, she's just like, you are the only one that can know, and you will know when you've hit your breaking point.
Yeah.
So
You know,
fucking
you can't
true.
force someone to break
Yeah.
up with someone. You can't force them to stay. And ultimately, they have to make their own decision, because they can't then say, well, I did this and you told me to. It's like, no. It needs to come from you.
Absolutely. You can influence someone, but they're ultimately the one that makes the decision, and you have to get that breaking point.
This is like really full circle because it's the same thing with mental health. Like Charlotte
was
so
just
many
gonna
times
say.
have been like, you need to go to a therapist, or you need to take your meds, or you need to whatever. And I'm like, no. And it's only until I can say, no, I need to do this. This is my fault. I need to take myself up from the bootstraps.
Right.
You know, even if she's like, yeah, that was my idea.
I've been saying this for 5 years.
Yeah, like
Bitch, you never listen.
it can't be somebody else's idea.
No.
You can suggest, but you can never force, and it's ultimately up to the
Well,
person.
Also, I mean, I think I learned that too, because I volunteered at a suicide and like a crisis hotline in
Yeah.
college, and everything there was about active listening. And
Yeah.
the biggest rule was you never give advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're there for someone,
Yeah.
and you support their choices. And I mean, not like blindly,
Yeah.
obviously if they're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
something dangerous, but like
Yeah.
you were just there to support them and not
Yeah.
to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Of course. And that's why people get to that point of being suicidal, because they don't have that. And it's such an important gift that you can give someone. It's just listening to them. You know,
Yeah.
thank you to all the listeners that are listening to this.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I just want to wrap up the 5150 story
Okay, what's up?
because not a lot of people have been 5150'd.
Well, they have. They just don't talk about it.
They just don't talk
I
about
have
it.
a lot of girls that have, and a lot of messages being like, man, I went to an
And that,
institution.
just to
and-
explain to everybody, that's when somebody calls the police on you
Yeah.
and they make you institutionalized because you're a danger to yourself or other people.
Yes.
And so I was thinking, oh, not many people has this happened to, but you know,
So many of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's pretty common in California.
yeah.
Like, it's a lot more common than you think.
Uh-huh.
Because every person, it's so funny because the reason I wanted to tell this story so bad is because, you know, with the stupid, I call it stupid sometimes because I get agitated with this hot girl image that I have. Nobody
Yeah.
sees the pain or the
Yeah.
problems that I have. No one sees me as a person. They just see me as this object.
Yeah.
And the purpose of telling this story wasn't just for my own, like, you know, therapeutic needs, but it was to help everybody else that has silently suffered.
Totally.
And I guess there's like a lot more crazy people in California. I don't know.
I think there's just a lot of pressure.
There is so
And
much.
it's concentrated pressure.
It is.
But I'm sure that there are people going through this stuff in other places, and
Absolutely.
maybe they're
Anyone.
just not talking about it because they're not in the entertainment industry. They don't have the platform to do that, and so it's so cool that you're using yours, which is such a powerful one,
It's the
to
only
talk
thing
about
that I'm
something
proud
important.
of.
Yeah,
to be honest.
no, but you should be proud. And
I'm
it's
very
really
proud
great.
of it. Thank you. Thank you for helping me and collaborating with me.
Of course.
And getting that message out there. And if anyone's out there in an abusive relationship, you can always leave. You can always start your life
Yeah.
over. I did it not knowing where the hell my life was going.
Yeah.
And you can do it too.
Totally.
And if you go back, I'm not going to judge you, but just come up with an action plan to get the fuck out of
Totally.
there, please.
Totally.
I was just wondering, I mean, it's tough to say like it gets better to people, but A, it really does. And B, like you have suffered so much loss. Like how did you get through it? Like how do you come out the other side?
That's a really great question. Well, I have faith in God. I believe in God. And my mom, again, is my rock. And I didn't want to let her down. And we've had my mom and I, we're best friends. Like, we're like everything. She's like my soulmate, you know?
Yeah. That's what Nanny and I call each other.
Exactly.
That's so cute.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So when I was at my rock bottom and I didn't have my cell phones in the psych ward, I realized I don't want to continue to let these men ruin my life. And I'm not like anti-men or anything, but
Yeah.
I realized I was letting
Your
them
response.
control my
Yeah.
feelings, my thoughts, what I wanted to do with my life, where I was going. And I thought, I have to live for me. And then that goal, I'm a goal-oriented person. So when I was there, I was like, what can I do? The second I got out of there, all I wanted to think about was where am I going so I can take care of me and my mom. Because that's like my whole goal in life.
She's not a gold digger. She's a goal digger.
Exactly. So that's like, honestly, every day, that's all I do and think about, like, what can I do to like take care of me and my mom?
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome.
So that's
That
what
is
gets me
awesome.
through.
It is so important though too to like
Am I
live
faithful?
for yourself.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because even, you know, like you were saying, you're like, well, I'm not going to end my life because of this like guilt for my mom. But it's like, what about yourself? Like there's so much more for you and your life too.
Oh, and that's what I feel like. I've gone through all this tragedy and trauma, so that way I can share my stories and then connect with all these other people to help them heal.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the things I'm so passionate about in my life.
Yeah.
Like I just love it so much. Like if you are going through a depressed time and you're heartbroken or whatever, come to me. Like I'll help you.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm gonna probably start, like a side hustle, you know, with all of that, because I really am so passionate about that.
That's
like,
great.
I want to help so many broken people and feel confident about themselves in all aspects. Because looking at me growing up, like, come on, I was the kid that was picked on, made fun of, beat up, like, and then look at me now. I haven't made the best life choices, but you know what? I'm a new bitch.
You're still standing.
I am, and I'm happy. And you know what? Life isn't perfect. It's not nice to everybody.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you have to be a shitty person.
Totally.
You know, you can be a stronger person or you can be a shitty person. What do you want to be?
Yeah.
You know what I realized
It's
too?
up to you.
Yeah.
Yesterday, or what day is it? I don't even know. We recorded an episode being like a huge issue is that we see all these horrendous like suicides in the paper and you never see like this person didn't go through with it. Like
A survivor.
And you were that survivor. And that's
Suicide
amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for asking that question. And I didn't say this, but I think it's important. You have to have a purpose for your life. When you don't have that purpose, that drive, what's going to like get you out of bed in the morning, you really do become lost.
Yeah.
And that's where I was. I was lost because I didn't have it.
Yeah.
Because I was like a shell of it was not myself.
Yeah.
Totally.
So just think about what makes you become you. Don't let anyone hold you back. Don't let anyone say what you can or cannot be. Have that fight and believe in yourself no matter what.
Yeah.
That's good
All
advice.
right. And stay alive. We love you.
Stay alive. Syd, it's been so much fun having you on this podcast.
Thank you. I can't wait to have you on mine, girl.
I
We're
know.
talking
You
about a lot of
guys
sex.
listen to that episode too on Syd's, but where can everybody find you online and your podcast?
You guys, please go. If you want to like find some super naughty episodes, you can go on my Patreon. Okay, Girl Instarupted, and then please follow Girl Instarupted's Instagram account. She's little, but she's mighty. You know, we're trying to grow her, and it's a great, fun community. It's all like very inspirational, and then there's some fun like sex. You follow me
Yeah,
on there, right?
yeah.
Bitch, you better. Do you follow me on there?
I'm pretty sure I do and how come.
How dare you? Okay, we can't use this interview. No, I'm just kidding. And then please also follow Syd Wilder for slutty photos.
Amazing. Charlotte, where can we find you on the internet?
At Sharkastic on Twitter and Instagram.
Perfect.
Where can we find you, Rem?
At Remy Casimir. You can also find us at How Come Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Rate, review, and subscribe, please. Get all your friends to do it. We need those ratings. We like nice reviews. They help us out. They help us get sick-ass guests like Syd.
And PayPal them money.
PayPal
Give
us
them
money.
They need it. We want it.
Yeah, go on our website, buy some merch, howcomepodcast.com. Look for our live shows. You'll just cream your pants. Syd, Venmo and make us cream. No, Syd, I have to ask this to everybody at the end of a sexual experience, which this has been.
Thank you.
Did you finish?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Actually, no. I'm going to have round 2 in a minute, though.
Okay, awesome. Charlotte, did you finish?
Sure did.
Awesome.
Did you?
I did. You guys, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you next time on How Come.
See ya.
Bye.
Stay crazy. Don't go insane.
It's not you, it's me. I try so hard to finish honestly. They say you'll know when you go all the way from A right down to O. Oh no, I think that I still got a ways to go. Oh, I'm sick of this and I have got to know. How come? How come? How come I can't achieve? How come I can't achieve? I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm rolling up my sleeves. Oh baby, I believe these guests can help. 'Cause I can't do it by myself. I wanna just